Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. I'm your host, the Innkeeper, and this is your live call talk show all about the Wheel of Time. And yes, we're getting closer and closer to season 3 hype news. I felt like there was a really high hype level last weekend, and maybe it's not as much this week, but hey, we're getting close to CCXP, which is next weekend. So if you don't know what that is, that's the Brazilian Comic Con, and we know there's going to be a Wheel of Time panel there. I'm going to throw this up there now. We are going to be covering it live. We'll talk about it later. That's coming up in the next, what is it, like 10 days now? But I'm like, hey, let's continue to talk season 3 with two wonderful people, Frenzy and Tom from tel'aran'rhiod. Welcome. And
hello.
I was like, Mary had her Shatter Rising, right, it's right there. So what we're talking today is our most kind of wanted scenes from that book, and maybe others, I don't know, that we want to see in season 3. So season 3 is coming. Most people, if you ask them, what's your favorite book, or which Wheel of Time book is your favorite, or the top 3, the Shadow Writings is in there. Is that true for the two of you, Tom?
Yeah, it's definitely top 3. Definitely.
Top 3. Mary?
Number 1.
Not Path of Daggers?
Out Path of Daggers.
All right. Okay.
Path of Daggers is a strong number 2.
Yeah.
Some people think that for other reasons. They're wrong.
I'm like, Path of Daggers is probably not in most people's top 3, but that's okay.
It's okay for them to be wrong.
Right. I'm not going
to yuck out somebody else's yuck.
I was like, there are so many great moments, and let's talk about these moments. We've been waiting for a lot of cool things to show up on screen, and there's a lot of stuff that happens off screen in the books that we've seen on the show. So I was like, hey, let's kind of look at all that. Thank you for everyone who's been replying online on Blue Sky. If you're not on Blue Sky and you come here, join Blue Sky. If you've ever wanted to nerd out, talk Wheel of Time, be geeky, you'll have a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun just talking about that. Yes, Matt. Frenzy's background is amazing. It seems like,
my friends, my homies.
Yeah, I just
my ride and dies.
Yeah, exactly. Just with my homies gonna take Balsamon down. That's what's happening right there. So I was like, hey, let's talk memorable scenes, or your most wanted scenes. And I asked, Nat's gonna join us sometime. So we'll just wait for her to show up and start throwing down some hot takes maybe. But I asked, hey, who suggests the most controversial take or opinion tonight? It seems like maybe we'll let this go. But we Tom, you're just you're the clear winner here. Do you have anything to say to everyone who maybe voted for you or maybe didn't vote for you and should have?
I guess for the people who did vote for me, I guess my reputation precedes me. I may have some controversial takes tonight, so I don't think that was a bad bet.
All right. I'm going to put this up there. We are going to talk about spoilers, right? But we'll keep it to the Fires of Heaven, book 5 of the Wheel of Time, and we'll try not to go farther than that because season 3 and book 4 Elements, there are certain things we may want to talk about that involves that. So if there are things like that, we'll throw up a full book spoilers if you go beyond that. And what I'll probably also put in here, hey, if you have a really most wanted scene that you're like, hey, I really want to see this, and maybe we've not talked about it, or call us. I'll put this on there, so the call lines are open. Call, let us know, what do you really, really want to see? And to kind of start us off, Mary, I'm going to go to you. Is there one scene that's like, we have to see this in season 3?
Top of the head, the Battle of Two Rivers.
Okay.
I've been saying it for years. I know it's not one scene, but just the entire emotional journey and arc of Perrin and Faile, the Whitecloaks returning home, everything that happens there, leading up to it, the actual battle, the aftermath of the battle. I just want it all. Please.
Yeah. So I have two specific scenes from that chapter. This is chapter 56, Golden Eyes. There is based on what we know, an episode, likely episode 7, that is titled Golden Eyes. So this is, towards the end. And I like this because I thought this specific part in the books talks about two characters that we know or have already had a confrontation. So let me read this for you, and then we can kind of talk about, is this something that can show up on the screen as part of the Battle of the Two Rivers? Because there's action, and that's cool, but some of the most strongest things that have happened in the show are the two people talking, the dialogue. And this is the Whitecloaks just before the Battle of the Two Rivers is going to start, and this is what happens. I'll read this for us all. You'll never know if you run away, will you? Perrin made his voice hard and contemptuous. I will keep my promise, but if you run, you might never find me again. Run if you want. Run and try to forget what happens here. All your talk of protecting people from Trollocs, how many died at Trolloc hands after you came. My family wasn't the first, and certainly not the last. Run. Or stay if you can remember your men. If you need to find the courage, look at the women, Bornhold, and any one of them is braver than the whole lot of you Whitecloaks. And then Bornhold shook as though every word were a blow. Perrin thought the man might fall out of his saddle. Swaying upright, Bornhold stared at him. We will remain, he said hoarsely. But my Lord Bornhold, Byre protested. Clean, Bornhold roared at him. If we must die here, we will die clean. He wrenched his head back to Perrin, spittle on his lips. We will remain, but at the last I will see you dead, Shadowspawn. For my family, for my father, I will see you dead. So that's I want to see I'm blanking on his name, J Duffy and Marcus Rutherford have that kind of fierce, emotional kind of, yeah, sure, they can fight, but having an interaction like this where the Trollocs are right there, let's fight them. So let me go to you, Tom. What do you think? Is this something we think can make it onto the show as is? Because these are important characters that we've already seen, and Dane, when we last saw him, was shouting two rivers. Oh, are you muted? No, am I? Nope. Am I muted? I cannot hear. Let me fix this. Let me fix it.
The sound on.
There you go. Yep. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
I can hear it. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, we're back. All right. Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were just pretending. We were actually just doing, or just to see what we would do. No.
It was a bubble. It was a bubble of evil.
So, yes, I do think that this. I think the scene will be in the show in some format. I don't know if the dialogue is going to be exactly the same, but right. I agree with what you said. The way that they ended Dane in season 2, him being dragged away after his father was murdered in front of him by the guy that he knows, just shouting two rivers, two rivers, two rivers. It does lead to believe that, yeah, they're going to have this confrontation. It should be, I would say, the emotional battle before the physical battle, right? That needs to happen at the culmination of the storyline.
Yeah, Francie, is that you see that there is this Perrin killed Whitecloaks, Perrin killed actual Dane Bornhold's dad in the show, right? How do you see this happening in terms of a resolution? Because there is going to be shadow spawns in the two rivers. There are going to be Whitecloaks, and having actually seen your father die at the hand of someone versus some Whitecloaks that you need to get justice for, it's kind of a little different. So do you see this sort of?
It needs to happen. it shows just the emotional damage of war and of losing family and how it blinds you and how that makes you make bad decisions and throw everything away. It doesn't help that Dane started out in the show as a sympathetic character. I mean, the character got me to like him. So screw you. I hate Dane Ballard in the book. But I like the fact that, I want to see his descent into revenge and madness. And I think that could be played out really well. And there's going to be a lot of that on Perrin. I'm hoping we see the traveling folk again, because they're in the Two Rivers, and we get to see Isla, and God, I loved her in season 1, and we get to see Aram and what happens to him, and what the traveling folk do during that battle, and how they have the children strapped to their backs, and how the Whitecloaks just stand there and do nothing. It's going to be just so much visual storytelling going on. It's going to be so much fun to watch.
Yeah. I'm going to end this poll. So it was like people are suggesting that I muted Tom because of this poll, that, he to suppress any controversial hot takes here. But so in terms of, Dane and Perrin showdown, do you think they're actually going to fight? So are we going to keep this kind of how it is, where they have a verbal kind of confrontation, and then, the Whitecloaks don't necessarily fight? I'm going to put cut in there just for fun, if someone wants to cut this whole Perrin versus Perrin and Dane showdown, or is there a modification here that that I think that what you're going with is some degree of this needs to be on screen, but do they actually have do they come to blows?
I don't think that they do, and here's the reason why. Like, I think that from any outside observer's point of view, no matter how close of a friend Hopper was to Perrin, you killed this guy's dad. Like, you're the bad guy here.
But it's war.
It is, but they were fighting on the same side. Like, and so, yeah, I understand the fog of war, but like, I would say that you need Dane to do something for the audience to go, oh, I'm not on his side anymore. He's not justified in what he's doing. So I think you need to have, like, if they physically fight and he wins or he loses, like, I think that kind of ends that, and you want to kind of keep this brewing. So I think you need to have him say, I am going to help you protect these people, and then not do it.
Okay. Do you think that's the betrayal? So for a second I thought you were going to suggest for him to do something bad is to do some killing in the Two Rivers. Are you suggesting that's a possibility?
No, well, I do think it's a possibility. I think that, if I reread the Shadow Rising relatively recently, and I forgot like how much Dane is not portrayed as a villain in that book until the very end. He's constantly being worked on by Thane to try and do evil things, and he's constantly resisting it. And like, I think that when we talk about all the characters who Thane like corrupts, like, we forget that this guy's one of them. Like, he's someone who like Thane then targets to die because he can't corrupt him fast enough or whatever. But it does culminate in him kind of like making a bad decision, or making a morally,
falling to the dark side.
Yeah, morally wrong.
Moral
decision.
dark side.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's what's more important at this point in the story, is for him to lose the moral high ground completely in this contest. Right?
I mean, the one thing I was going to suggest, and there's no way what I want to happen, so I don't want people to think this, but you kill my family, I kill your family, right? Like, right. Is that frenzy? Do you see that happening? We know the Ibar's parent comes back home, and they're pretty much all dead. They're killed by the white. Yeah.
And so that could be you killed my family, I killed. Yeah, that could be what tips the sympathy away from Dane in this
Yeah.
situation.
Kind of
And,
balances the scales in some way. Yeah.
Right. And you brought up something, Tom. I'm going to segue here a little bit on us. I'm sorry. That, Fane was leaning on the Whitecloaks and trying to, corrupt them and get them to fall to their baser instincts all throughout this whole story arc. And this was one of my hot takes for this. I think they're going to cut Lord Luke and Issam. They're going to cut Slayer and have that role taken over by Fane. And have Fane be the
all right, okay. That's before we get into maybe that, let me read you this one part.
Okay.
That I think part of what Tom suggested to me as a scene that he wants to see, and this is part of that. And this is Perrin, this chapter 28 of the Shadow Rising, the Tower of Genji, and this is Perrin in the Wolf Dream. The land grew flat and grassy, broken by scattered thickets, without any sign of men. Then something glittered ahead, sparkling in the sun, a tower of metal. His quarry sped straight for it and vanished. 2 leaps brought Perrin there as well. 200 feet the tower rose, and 40 thick, gleaming like burnished steel. It might as well have been a solid column of metal. Perrin walked around it twice without seeing any opening, not so much as a crack. Not even a mark on the smooth sheer wall. The smell hung there, though, that cold, inhuman stink. The trail ended here. The man, if man he was, has gone inside somehow. He only had to find the way to follow. Stop. It was a flow of emotion that Perrin's mind put a word to. Stop. Why should I stop, Hopper? He killed the wolf. Men have killed wolves, and wolves men. Why does anger seize your throat like fire this time? I don't know, Perrin said slowly. Maybe because it was hair. I didn't know it was possible to kill a wolf hair. I thought wolves were safe in the dream. You chase Slayer, young bull. He is hair in the flesh, and he can kill. So, there is, Perrin in the wolf dream. A lot of what happens with Slayer, even though there is Lord Luke, it happens in the wolf dream. And some really cool scenes like this. And I brought this here because, we are going to talk about the Tower of Genji. So this is a tease that, the Tower of Genji is mentioned, heavily in the Shadow Rising, and we will get there. But do you think, can we cut Slayer? Is that Lord Luke, Slayer, and just have Fane take over that wolf killer, kind of role?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it could. I think it could.
May not happen, but I think it can happen. I mean, I don't see the Two Rivers fawning over Lord Luke. They weren't really impressed with the last visitors that came to town, and they weren't fawning over the Lady Moraine. So, what purpose does Luke have there in the plot?
Yeah, it's interesting that how do you, we know there's the Whitecloaks. We know there's Shadow Spawn. Who's the agent of the dark? And we know Fane is definitely that person. And the Battle of the Two Rivers does have the Trollocs. I think the Trollocs, right? They're chanting Isom, right? As they're advancing. So you think they're just going to chant Fane? not that, but
they're probably not going to chant.
They're not going to chant.
Yes, I would think that they don't talk.
Which is interesting. We always talk about talking Trollocs and Narg, and I was like, no, the Trollocs say more than just Narg. There's more than just Narg as a talking troll. Yeah, they said Isom, right?
Yeah, there's that quote you just shared, Innkeeper. There's an introduction of a character immediately after that. Which I think we need to have in season 3.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, so this is where it gets to. We saw someone with a long braid, golden braid, with a bow, but we never really saw to see actual Brigitte named. Yeah, that's. Let me put up. Can we? I'm going to close this poll here. Dane and Perrin showdown. Most people, about 66% keep modify. There's only 2% that want to cut. That's good. I like that we have people who chose that. Maybe they don't want to see maybe Perrin and Dane just become become friends and have a drink together, and that's what happens.
I never liked my dad. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Lord Cat whatever his title was now. Thank you for paving the path to leadership for me. Slayer. I'm just gonna put Slayer. Slayer Lord Luke. As a concept, as a character. Keep cut. I'm just going to do keep cut. I don't think there's a modification when it comes to this. So sorry, you're not going to get that. This is a keep cut poll. So in terms of talking, what was the last thing, Mary?
I was saying replace that functionality in the story with Pat and Faine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does play off of the end of season 1 too, right? Where Faine and Perrin are the ones who have the confrontation. Like, if that becomes like his main antagonist here, that does have a certain resonance to it. So I don't mind that, and I think that Faine's, like, whatever Faine's deal is in the show hasn't really been explored yet. So I think you could kind of just go, oh yeah, he could do this stuff too. Like this, he's got this stuff that he can be in the dream. I think it's most important for the show that, and I do think that season 3 is going to really lead into tel'aran'rhiod. I think that it's important that Perrin learns the wolf dream in this season. Like, I don't think it's important necessarily that the guy he fights in that dream is Slayer. I will say this though, because I don't think he's meeting Brigitte. I think that she'll probably be introduced here, but if she is, she's only going to be in the girl's storyline. I don't think that. I think that the Two Rivers storyline is probably going to be too crowded to have that stuff in there, and like, he knows Gaul Kane and hung out with him for like 6 months, and I don't think you want to like. It would just be distracting if like why would he not come back and talk to Perrin? He just gave him a shield a few months ago. So like, I think you're probably gonna put all that stuff and just have it in the Tanchico story.
It's like, my girlfriend sent me, like, instead of right, just Gaul. I'm Gaul Kane. It's interesting though, from just a perspective of, if we don't keep Slayer or Lord Luke, or a broader question, does Hopper come back? Is the Wolf Dream, how important is the Wolf Dream for season 3, the Shadow Rising's plot and Perrin's journey? Is it really, to learn more about his wolf, his wolf side, and that's why he goes to the Wolf Dream, or is there more to it because, there is an actual, person that he needs, an adversary he has there? Because, that's really his arc in that book, is there's someone, in the real world that he has to fight, but there's also someone killing wolves in the Wolf Dream. So that's like a huge, like, are you suggesting, Mary, that we just have no Lord Luke's there and no Wolf Dream and no killing of wolves there, or is Faine in the Wolf Dream then and killing?
Faine's in the Wolf Dream.
Okay.
Killing the wolves. We still have that. We need the Wolf Dream. We need tel'aran'rhiod. We need to show it that it's connected both to Perrin's storyline, to Egwene's storyline, to the Wise Ones, and Brigitte. And it's kind of the underlying thread that connects them all. And it's what I think brings everybody together. Or it could. Oh, does. No, I'm not going to go any farther. That's spoilers.
Yeah. So, I think it'll be interesting. I want to see, I feel people are like, why would we cut anything? Like,
it's because it's the biggest book in the series, and there's only 8 episodes. And I love it.
Right,
but this is one that they could easily do.
Yeah,
and I will say this as we go through this or not, like, just remember, there's probably going to be a lot more tower stuff in the series than there is in the book. A lot of the tower stuff in the book happens off
screen.
Yeah, and they love this. Like, they're probably not going to do that. I think you're going to be introducing characters for the first time in this season, and those characters are going to be in the White Tower for the most part. So you're going to have more time there.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to let this poll go for a little while. It seems like it's very kind of split down the middle there in terms of Slayer Lord Luke. A lot of people are like, yeah, no, like, why introduce another antagonist, right? Like, there's enough people there with Fane and Dane. Dane, and that's enough pain. Right?
Pain.
There you go. There's enough pain for Perrin there. All right, so I think Battle of the Two Rivers. There's a few other things. The one here that I wanted to bring that Tom you mentioned, it's this is in the battle when things are not going that well, and then this this little boy just keeps coming up to Perrin and being like, Lord Perrin. So let me read this part to you and see how this can be incorporated. The same boy appeared in his stirrup. Lord Perrin, he shouted, to be heard above cheering now, men and women shouting for joy and relief as the last Trollocs who had not made it out of bull range fell. Not many had, Perrin believed, but he was barely able to think. Faile. The boy tugged at his richest leg. Lord Perrin, Master Althor said to tell you the Trollocs are breaking, and they're shouting tel'aran'rhiod. The men, I mean. I heard them. Oop, nope, not this. There we go. Nope, not this. Let me let me make sure I have the right one. It's right here. Perrin bent to ruffle the boy's curly hair. What's your name, lad? Jaime Ibarra, Lord Perrin. I'm your cousin, I think. Sort of, anyway. Perrin squeezed his eyes shut for a moment to keep the tears in. Even when he opened them, his hand still trembled on the lad's head. Well, Cousin Jaime, you tell your children about today. You tell your grandchildren, your grandchildren's children. Yeah, that's clunky dialogue. I don't think that's making it, although it's not much that I can't see it doesn't mean much. But yeah, like
it could
the
be
fact
a poignant moment of silence in the
just the fact that there's they've all is lost, and Faile as Perrin had sent her away, comes back with the men of tel'aran'rhiod and kind of gets that the victory, and then this one kid shows up that is family, is to Perrin. Do you think like this idea of Perrin crying at the end there, and not being like, don't call me Lord, because this kid's calling him Lord, and he most of that chapter, anyone saying Lord Perrin, he's like, no, like, don't, and he's just like, this is a great day for the Two Rivers. Tom, you brought this up. How do you see this happening in the show?
Well, it's funny because I've heard a lot of conversation over the last couple of days as the topic of this show has been out there in the social media world about like, oh, they're not gonna kill Perrin's family. He's already been through too much, and I kind of laughed at that. I'm like, no. He's gonna go through the ringer, right through it, and I think, hello, we've got other people. I think that his family will die, and I think that he's going to really be like kind of emotionally at sea. I think this is the nice culmination of that story at the end, to be like, when he thinks he literally has no family left, they've all been murdered, either by Fane's hand or the Whitecloak's hand or his own hand by accident, but whatever. That to find out that he does have some family left, that it's a really nice human moment at this grand heroic moment for the character, and I like that balance, and I hope they keep it in the show.
I hope they keep that in the show, and I am glad Nat can join us. Nat, welcome. I don't know, when was the last time you were at the inn? Do you remember?
It's been some time.
It's been some time. we've missed you, and I'm glad that you're here.
Thanks for letting me Zoom bomb.
Matt here. Please thank the Light for Natalia joining us by liking this. Okay, yes, like the video because Nat's here. Yeah. It's so great to see. We were just talking about a lot of Two Rivers. Perrin and in the Battle of the Two Rivers. Perrin. That all of that happening and how we want to see that. And the only thing that we've done till now that Mary said, we can cut Lord Luke. We can, we don't need Slayer. He can, Fane can just do everything Slayer did. And we don't need that. And most people here, I'm going to end this poll. Slayer, Lord Luke, keep or cut. Most people are like 51-48. That's like pretty split down the middle. Before we move on, what do you think? Nat, is Lord Luke important? Slayer important to the Shadow Rising? Oh wow, okay. You think cut?
Yeah, absolutely. He's not important to the bigger story. We can find ways to fit in those story points in other ways. For TV, absolutely, we don't need him.
Okay. All right. There you go. I'm gonna put up this.
I love when Sarah proves me wrong.
But yeah, I think it is. There's so much that happens in that. There's, I think it was Bane and Chiad who on Blue Sky was like, oh, an off-screen thing that I think would be really cool because we've seen the Two Rivers Waygate. What series has actually like a satellite image off that Waygate is Gaul and Loyal, because that happens off-screen, right? They go and they close it, right? Initially, I think Loyal puts both of the leaves on the outside, and it's like I couldn't come to break it, and then they actually do kind of get it to
they get over that.
Disable it. Yeah. That would be again a cool thing to see Loyal and Gaul. I mean, I guess it bears a poll at least. I'm just gonna put Gaul, keep or cut. Like, is there hope within this fandom? I'm gonna ask. Tom's already said no, from what I can tell. Nat, Frenzy, Gaul, keep or cut? Do you want Gaul to be? He wasn't there in the first two seasons. Do we want him to show up in the Two Rivers, help Perrin do that bromance, or no? Who wants to go first?
I don't know. His role in season 2 was taken by Avienda.
Mm-hmm.
So introducing him now has less of an impact without that. So he's just a dude, and dudes are cool, but they would have to do something else to draw the connection to Perrin. And I know, yeah, I like Gaul. I'm a big Gaul fan, but I don't know how to make it work.
Yeah,
he's my favorite. I love him.
Okay.
He's so pragmatic. He's the Chewie to
like
Perrin's
he's the
Han.
foil. If we don't have Gaul, who else is Perrin going to play against for 2/3 of?
I think just Bane and Chiad. I think that they're going to replace him in this season. I want to be clear. I love Gaul. Gaul and Perrin are my favorite, like, friend duo in this series. And,
romance.
Yeah, and I think that we'll miss him, but I agree. I don't know how. Like, I think it's gonna be odd enough. Like, okay, why are Bane and Chiad gonna go? I think they're gonna go with Perrin. And the only, like, Avienda should really go because Avienda owes him from freeing her, and that's not gonna happen. So, like, I don't know. Is Gaul gonna be Avienda's brother and be like, hey, look, I'm gonna take this on for her, and trust me, we're gonna be cool soon? Or, like, I don't know how you do that. So, I think it's just gonna be like a condensing of character.
Yeah.
Situation, which stinks.
I got distracted by this one comment that I cannot for the life of me find now, but it said something like, makes me think back to when they wanted to cut Loyal.
Okay, I own that one. I will own that one. I did say that.
And I was like, where did it go? I can't find it anymore.
If it wasn't my idea, I definitely co-signed it.
Oh no,
I'm
it was
being wrong there.
It was like a very quick. Hey, there it is, Brother Buddha, making me think back to when they were they were with the seal cutting Loyal. Like I think that was like okay, but hey, we retconned it. It came back. Loyal definitely came back. Within the live adaptation, we're talking. If you don't know what we're talking about. 4 years ago,
At least.
Mary Frenzy
Yes,
and
about 4 years.
Todd and not Tom, but today maybe Tom, you could channel your inner Todd,
Inner hillbilly.
yeah.
I'll do what I can.
You need a Trolloc rant in here. But there was a live adaptation that Innkeeper did, and Loyal was cut in the first go around, and there were much riots, and he was brought back. I don't think Slayer is going to be brought back. I think I don't think Slayer is that much of a favorite here. Gaul seems to be winning this this
I
poll
voted
to at
Keith,
least
but
be-
that was absolutely a sentimental vote and not a pragmatic vote. I will say that.
I do like this. You voting in a dusty wheel poll with the heart. I think that is the correct way to go. Anything
Is
else? Anything else from the Two Rivers plotline that is like
Just the
important?
character development between Perrin and Faile.
Okay, yeah.
The
And,
wedding.
Okay, you think Perrin's going to meet someone in season 3, get over having killed his wife, and actually being married? Like, is that enough time? I want it to happen because it's like so important to his growth. But how does it actually happen? I mean, any thoughts on how do we actually make Perrin and Faile an actual believable relationship couple? Thoughts?
Oh, it can definitely
Okay.
be done. All right. Faile is a strong enough character to pique Perrin's interest and pull him out of his mourning. It's
Mhm.
absolute mourning and the self.
She's gonna piss him off out of it.
She's gonna piss him off. This is going to be an enemies to lovers. Absolutely. I have very strong opinions about Lila. Ibarra, actress, did a phenomenal job. No aspersions against her whatsoever. But yeah, I think Faile's going to come in strong. It's going to piss people off. Going to piss Perrin off. I mean, yeah, because she's just everybody's sunshine and lollipops in the fandom. So she's going to come in hard and do what needs to be done to get Perrin out of that mourning period and moving on with his life. Now, are they going to get married at the end of the season?
Yeah.
Doubt it, but
I mean, but if he
they don't
does,
have to.
if she does, win the battle for the Two Rivers, or at least help win that, that's strong. I think the biggest barrier, and I don't know if Tom, Nat, you have any thoughts on how does he get over Layla, right? Like he's going back to Two Rivers, he's killed his wife.
I know how he gets over Layla.
Where's my
Okay.
popcorn? Oh, I have pizza. Let me get some pizza here.
He gets
But does he-
under Faile.
Thank you. Thank you.
So is it because Perrin hasn't told anyone about her, right? Like that's the biggest thing. I feel like this is emotional baggage, where he's never shared.
I thought he
with-
did.
Did he?
Because
It's
I
a
thought he
shame.
did, but he also had the conversation with Egwene, and I think he was in season 1, episode 7, because he had he was carrying a torch for her, and they put that to bed in their friend. No pun intended, but they snuffed that and are friends, and they're both cool with that. So he has the capability to get over Lila.
Yeah.
That's not going to come out of left field.
Okay. All right.
And this show puts people under each other a lot, so I
don't.
see
Have I forgotten that Perrin told Egwene he killed? Is that what he said? That I killed her?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay. I need to go back and watch season.
And
Perrin,
Egwene
right.
interpreted that as guilt, not as, hey, I made a mistake.
Actually,
Or
yeah.
it's more of I created the situation. She's like, no, it was not your fault.
Max makes a comment about losing a spouse, in the concept of describing getting over somebody in the terms of death. And I would just like to be very, very
it's
clear.
Moving on.
I am being super facetious in the terms of this show specifically.
Yeah.
Because I have theories about our friend Layla. So Perrin's emotional investment in her as a spouse, I'm prepared to be facetious about that relationship. But your point is well taken.
Right. Yeah. No. It's really how do you get over killing a partner, right? Like that is guilt. That is, I may do this again to the next person I may come to. It's more that I in my head is more like I think I'm dangerous. I kill my wife.
We haven't started talking about Rand yet.
Yes. And I'm dangerous to people around me. And clearly Perrin has killed many people, maybe unintentionally, right? Like Perrin killed someone again is, a rallying call to Perrin fans for the show. I do see someone has called in. Let's take. I think I feel like I see them here. Let's bring them in and see what's their kind of all right. Welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
Hello, it's Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
It's Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
Hey.
My hot take is, hey guys, my hot take is Perrin actually kills Fain. I don't think that the show has done enough with Fain, and so it's time to kill him off. And I think that by killing Fain, that's how, Fain kind of brags that he brought the Trollocs to Two Rivers. That's what, Fain could have has a come to Jesus moment with Faile, and Faile says it wasn't your fault, it was war, etc., etc. And then by killing Fain, it's sort of how he's able to get over the death and process it. That's my take. And I don't think they're removing Luke from the show because the leaked scripts mention Luke.
Yeah, again, it's hard to know how much stock to put into maybe. Because I always feel like with those names of characters within these scripts, that's not necessarily what's named there. But you're right. There are definitely enough things out there to suggest that Slayer or a Lord Luke type character is there. Now, is it the same character with all the same, Slayer, Luke, Isom, that kind of thing, or is it more, someone who's another type of antagonist kind of force, a leadership person there. But yeah, Fain. Nat, do you think Fain dies by the hands of Perrin? Is that is that something you see happening?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, they killed Rena.
They did kill Rena. Yes.
Gloriously killed Rena. Both Madeline and Xenia owned by Aslan last season.
So anyway, how does Perrin move forward, right? Like if he can kill Fain, that's a massive step forward for him, both from a what happened in the Two Rivers in episode 1 of season 1, and then also how I don't think he knew Fain was involved in Falm, right? I don't think there was anything there, but he was basically the great hunt for the Horn was him hunting Fain, and he knew Fain at the end of season 1. Yeah,
he knows because he's like they're imprisoned there, and Fain walks up with the thing, and they do like a double take.
Oh yes, yeah, exactly, yep. So he does know that. Yeah,
I think nobody had
there. Perrin wasn't.
Loyal was.
Yes,
Loyal was.
Yeah,
okay, Loyal
so I would imagine.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone voted for Andrew as having the most controversial take of killing one of the main villains of the series in season 3. But
Tom, is he? In the show, in the books maybe, but in the show,
no,
is he the main villain in the show?
He's one of the longer lasting villains of the show. He's
Yeah,
been the most consistent villain.
I'd say Valda. Valda is one could argue Valda. I mean,
yeah, there are.
Who do you think they were
I
likely
forgot
to kill,
about
Vayne or
Valda.
Valda?
Yeah.
They could kill Valda.
Oh, you're like best I can do is Valda.
Technically, I'm trying to think of in the show. Technically, does Fain do anything bad? And you can't count what happens in episode 8 because that was retcon apparently because no one else was injured with the magic dagger.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, clearly, Fain has done. Fain has done, bad things, right? Like Fain has definitely, like the Two Rivers massacre that happened was Fain, and now if Fain is back at that place, could there be a Fain Perrin showdown? I can definitely see that happening. Now, actually, Fain dying, it's interesting because is Fain important to anyone else in the show? Is the dagger going to be back with Fain? Is Fain versus Rand a thing? These are the sort of things we don't know. So it's interesting. It's definitely. Let me put that in chat. Andrew, anything else you had thoughts about?
No, that's it.
Before we kind of move on.
Holidays.
You too. All right. Take care.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Let's see if.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Let's put that in here. Will Perrin kill Fain in season 3? Yes or no? Let's see what people think about that. All right, let's kind of the Battle of the Two Rivers plot line. It's going to be awesome, but we kind of touched upon it a little bit, and we'll get to Rand, I think, towards the end. But we have to, this is like the thing that pretty much everyone talks about. When the Shadow Rising and things come up about, okay, what do you really want to see? And people have the least actual belief but the most hope about this. So let's talk about chapter 15, Into the Doorway. And this is Matt in a certain twisted redstone doorframe. Abruptly, a dozen of the yellow-clad men were around Matt, seeming to appear out of air, trying to pull him toward the door. He fought with fists, elbows, knees. What fate, burn your hearts, what fate? It was the room itself that peeled, the walls and floors quivering, nearly taking Matt and his attackers off their feet. What fate? The three were on their feet atop the pedestals, and he could not tell which shrieked which answer. To marry the daughter of the Nine Moons, to die and live again, and live once more a part of what was, to give up half the light of the world, to save the world. Together they howled like steam escaping under pressure. Go to Ruidian, son of battles. Go to Ruidian, trickster. Go, gambler, go. Now, is probably the number one thing that comes to my mind as far as the Shadow Rising, what's the thing you remember? This is probably the first thing I would say. I think we can say for certain that, not for certain, to a very large degree, that Matt may not be going to Ruidian. So how do we keep this kind of iconic, not just the fins, we can talk about the fins, do we keep the fins? But with Matt, because, we really saw Matt with the fins, right? We didn't really see too much other interaction. While there was Moraine in there. There was Rand in there, right? Rand. So we could, could they just be like, let's just do that and not Matt? But I guess there's a question of generally the fins, yes or no for season 3 and this kind of iconic scene.
So I don't think this scene that we just saw happens in the series at all. I think there's going to be the fins, but I think Matt's going to go through at the end of the season once. That's it.
Okay.
I don't think that the other two ever go through. I think Moraine can get whatever answers she gets in Moghedien. Mm-hmm. I think that Rand can get whatever answers he gets from them in other ways through the series, whether through his readings or through his memories or through talking to Min or whatever. But I don't think there's a redstone doorway in Falm that's just been sitting there, That like, oh yeah, there's this thing. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Not in the room of curiosities. There's not a curious.
That's in Tanchico.
No, but no.
Yeah.
In the show they mentioned there's
He's got
there's
a whole
the
room
Lord.
full of stuff.
Yeah.
No, I think
The Turax.
I think you might merge
Could be.
the snakes and the foxes, like into like you get them both when you go through, like, and that, you know, Matt goes through and he gets whatever he gets, you know, whether he gets a new Ashandarai instead of the one that he makes out of a bedpost, or whatever. Like I don't know. I don't even know how they're gonna do all that. Whether he gets answers or stuff.
I mean, Answers is just so much cooler, I think, even though, like in terms of actual plot and prophecies and things to look forward to, I just feel like that would function better. I mean, sure, cool things. A Foxhead medallion is pretty cool. But like, is that the purpose of showing a new creature in the show? Nat, you seem, I can't tell what you're thinking. Are you skeptical? You think what are you thinking?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of creative ways that they can come up with and keep. Like, without the fin, you're going to have to sort of retcon a lot of stuff to make other things work. And so I have concerns. There's certainly enough there with enough different actors to justify the expense of a set piece. Okay. Right? Like, it's more than just Matt. If you incorporated the other scenes and the other characters, then you could justify the expense of a different location and, the outlay of all that stuff, which is cost is how one of the ways I look at, like, in TV, how are they going to make this make sense? From a story's perspective, I don't see how they can, but it's a real expansive piece of lore.
Well, if they use it, yeah, I can see them using it twice in the season, once at the beginning, once at the end. Whether that be in Falma or Tanchico, and then at writing at the end, whether it's Matt going through or Rand going through, or the both of them, or Moraine, it definitely can be done, and I think it would be worth the expense. It's just, who do they pick to go through to show these things? And in the books, it was Matt. We know that in the series, Moraine is the lead character, so they may do it from Moraine's POV, but she had a lot in season 2.
Right.
But and we don't know what we get third hand what Rand saw and asked.
Right.
But I think it'll work.
Yes. In. Yeah.
If we're looking at this from a perspective of Rosamund being the lead, which she is, then yeah, there is a clear avenue for Moraine to go through that door and ask her questions.
Yeah. So I like this, light binding fluid. Can they do it? Yes. Should they do it? Yes. Will they do it? We don't know. And I think this is.
And how will they do it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I think I can answer this in more. Again, it's a hopeful answer. But I always feel like we wrote off Elias, and we're like, oh, they cut Elias. We're not gonna see Elias again. We didn't get Hopper. But we got these people back. They fit these scenes in where we didn't think they would, and I cannot for the life of me think in the writer's room where they're like, the Finns, does the fandom like this? Is this a cool thing in the show? Is there lore here? Is this a cool scene? Does this give anything to the plot? It's like, yes. So there's no way they're like, let's just forget about this, I would be surprised, if they're like, this is too much cost, let's not do it. They're building ships out there, like sea folk ships. If you can build a sea folk ship, please make a poor animated fox or snake, please. I don't know if they've done it already. Just if you haven't, do it now. We'll take it. We'll take a onesie. It'll be fine.
You could just have the cinematographers have fun with it. Just have oddball camera angles, constantly moving, constantly shifting. You don't even
smoke,
have to see them.
Whatever.
They're just smoke and smoke and mirrors. Shadows, glowing eyes.
Yeah.
Hissing, auto-tuned voices. It can be done.
So the way I'm going to make this poll, so will Perrin kill Fain? I just about 80%, almost 80%. Andrew are saying no. There are some people though who agree with that. But from a encounters with the Finn is how I'm going to put it. Keep. So that's I'm going to say Matt. Encounter Matt visits the Finn, maybe that might be the better keep, in kind of what we saw, and this is both the Aelfinn and the Ilfin, so you could have both where he gets things and answers. Keep, cut, or the modify option here is really modify to Rand or Moraine POV, that's an off-screen thing that happens that keeps coming back to us, and it's so important, especially in Rand's case, right? Like we keep wanting to know what he found out. So let's see what chat says here. But is there a compelling case one way or the other where the Aelfinn and Ilfin are just too much for a show like this? Is there a devil's advocate? Is this just all because we love this so much, we want to see this, or is there actually? I feel like we've talked about this before, Tom, where you're like, no, he already got the Ashandarai. No, he already had a magical tea psychedelic experience. Like we already seen him hanging. Like, what is he gaining with two more these? Yeah,
he blows the horn and says, I remember everything, right? So whatever
the memories
holes
are
in his memory, right? I think that there is a way that you kind of have written yourself out. Here's the devil's advocate why it wouldn't be in, and I want to be clear, I think it should be in, and I think it will be in, but here's why it wouldn't be in. I'm an executive that hasn't read the books. I've paid or signed checks for hundreds and hundreds of $1 million for my expensive fantasy show, and the writers come to me and go, okay, in this season there's aliens.
Yes, that's awesome, right?
Right, and I go, no. So that's my elevator pitch as to why I would say no. It is a tremendous bridge that the show builds in this season. Now, I think it's awesome, and obviously it works really well, and they should do it. But I can see somebody going. I can see a suit saying no. Figure it out another way.
Yes, but also go ahead, Tal.
If they got Guardians of the Galaxy with a not talking tree, and a violent raccoon.
Mm-hmm.
Before we knew Guardians of the Galaxy, it was just weird people in space. I mean, you got to get the right executive. I have faith in Rafe. He feels he's got a good elevator pitch.
Okay, let me counter that with, they've already given us snippets of I can see myself aliens living in this. This we know the Age of Legends, right? They've shown a bit of it. Maybe there's more that we see in the glass columns, and so is there are there sci-fi elements, right, in the Wheel of Time? Yes, maybe they've already started to show us that, and with that perspective, this is season 1 concept art. And we saw that in season 1, episode 8, when it pans out outside of Luthern's window, showing this futuristic city. So maybe it's not too hard to buy, from that perspective, that there are these things that we're maybe showing anyways. I mean, do you think we could see a spaceship or like a flying car? Is that too much, Tom, from that perspective?
No, but I think I hear what you're saying, but I'm gonna counter again. There's a difference between the awesome reveal in episode 8, season 1, that the past is the future, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, fine, but like, they go to a different world and they meet aliens. Is is a big step. And again, I want to be crystal clear because it sounds like I'm saying they shouldn't do it. They should do it, and I think they will do it. But I'm worried that they put stuff into season 2 in case they don't do it.
Yeah, they definitely gave themselves an out in season 2. I think they could do it by making where the elf and the elfin hang out is in tel'aran'rhiod.
Mm-hmm.
Simplify it.
There
Simplify the lore that way, and they just live in a part of tel'aran'rhiod, and it's what does it do to drive the plot forward having somebody go visit them? That's foreshadowing. It gets somebody somewhere, gives somebody information. But yeah, you're right. They did give themselves an out. I hope they don't use it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people say this, like DK Moon. Finns are my favorite scenes after Ruidin columns, but don't think we get them. And I'm like, yeah, but like, have maybe faith a little. I don't know what. Have hope, more hope, clown, something. There's something.
They keep surprising us. We keep
Right,
saying they
that's
couldn't
yeah.
possibly make this work, and they keep surprising us.
Okay, I'm jumping on the official bandwagon that we'll know that there are Finns in the show before the show airs. Like they'll give us enough in the teaser and that kind of stuff that we'll be like, even if we don't show it, I feel like there must be prophecies, knowing why I have to go to Ruidin. What do the characters do after this in the Shadow Rising and the Fires of Heaven is largely based on Moraine, Matt, and Rand hearing stuff from the Ilfin and being like, oh, this is what I need to do. And then more things that happen in Ruidin to help foreshadow or prophesize or stuff like that. So again, I don't know. I felt like I put myself out there. There you go. We Finn or we riot. I mean, that's really the if you're watching out there, Amazon, if you didn't include the Finns, maybe something you can do now in post-production. I don't know.
We have a comment in chat that says if you just keep adding characters, a lot of people will just tune out, and I counter you with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no, I think I feel like I know. Yeah, Alexander, that is something maybe you can make that argument, but I feel like I've seen this enough times where in commentary from fans and in commentary from people who watch television now, always say that executives and writers think that fans and watchers are not astute enough to understand plot lines or characters and how things happen, but if you do it well, it works. There's no that's not a reason to not have enough characters. If you do it well and you make it count, it doesn't matter how many characters there are. And I think Jordan actually proves that, right? So many characters, you don't remember them maybe, but these
step in.
Yeah, right. There's so many things that even Jordan did. These characters, you don't know their names maybe, but you know how important they were in a certain scene for Perrin or things like that. I don't know. That having said all of that, let's take a look at this poll. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we've exhausted. We need the elfin and where that's going. Yeah. What's the next thing from this giant tome of that we love that we want to talk about?
So there's a couple of things we could go. We can go. Glass columns is probably the next. What do we actually want to see? And the one that I chose, because there's a lot that Rand sees, but I thought this one was probably one of the coolest ones. So this is chapter 26, The Dedicated. What seemed a tiny chip of white spun away from the Sharome in a jet of black fire. It descended, deceptively slow, insignificant. Then 100 gouts spurted everywhere around the huge white sphere. The Sharome broke apart like an egg and began to drift down, falling an obsidian inferno. Darkness spread across the sky, swallowing the sun in an unnatural light. As if the light of those flames was blackness, people were screaming everywhere. With this fire spurt of fire, Charn broke into a run toward the Column, but he knew he was too late. He was sworn to serve Aes Sedai, and he was too late. Tears rolled down his face as he ran. and this is the drilling of the bore, right? So up until now, the show really hasn't necessarily cemented an understanding of the Dark One and the bore and how that works. So even though this is so cool, and there's a different power that they're going to get into, and there's Mirren is in there, Lanfear's in there. There's so much you can do with Natasha O'Keefe, in the university, being like, being all scientific or whatever. Do you think we get to see this in the glass columns? Nat, let me go to you. Do you think you want to see Lanfear? You want to see Lanfear in her at her finest work?
Hey, I don't know about others, but this is one of those seminal moments of reading this series where I can remember where I was when I read it for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, if we don't get this visually, it's a miss.
Yeah.
It is just such a perfect. I mean, like, imagine whatever that weird dome in Vegas is called.
The dome, isn't it? I think.
Like, that's the Sharon.
Yes.
So just to imagine visually, like that picture of like One Piece followed by like no, those chapters were my favorites.
Yeah.
Favorites.
I feel like this is the. I'm pretty sure this was the.
How do we incorporate them?
Yeah. This was the end of. People are like, no, the sphere is not the dome; it's the sphere. Thank you. I think this was the last vision Rand saw. I think he came out of this and saw someone hanging from a Vendosora. Frenzy, is this like? This is like we keep it as it is. We see, or do we see this from Lanfear's kind of point of view, and we're actually inside, and then we see. Panning outside and showing destruction as the bore is being drilled.
I'm now envisioning, Lanfear and Lews Therin in the shower with Rand watching.
Okay.
Watching it, because he's in the columns. I can see that now, and you guys are gonna laugh, but I mean this in all seriousness. The visual of the drill and the explosion, the way where I see it in my head, 1984 Ghostbusters, when they open the gate and all the magic comes bursting out of the building. Ooh. And then all the corruption is just happening in the town, and the music is creepy. So it can visually be done. It has been done before. Okay. And I was thinking, this was my other hot take, but I'm taking it back, was that they're going to cut Glass Column scene altogether. Yes, we would riot. I would riot too. But they've already woven in Age of Legends stuff in the cold opens. So why do they story-wise need to add it in? But I think Rand needs to see it. And I think that's what we're going to see when we get to Rhuidean. We need to see Rand seeing the past. And making the connection. It opens up the connection, Fires of Heaven spoiler, I suppose, to having the voice in his head, being Lews Therin and keeping that thread of the story in it.
It's also sort of pivotal in setting Mirren up as is she or isn't she?
Yeah.
Did she or didn't she? Like, did she know? Do we know? We still don't know.
She knew.
She underestimated. Her math was off.
Her math was off.
It was an unintended consequence.
Yeah,
which
but it would be really cool.
Science.
This is interesting. Who is seeing this? Is this because Moraine goes in there too, right? Although what Moraine sees is maybe different, but
Moraine does not go through the columns.
Yeah, she does not. Exactly. She gets, visions of.
She Doctor Stranges it. She gets to see all of the alternate.
Yes,
futures,
exactly. That is such a good way to explain
good
it.
Analogy.
Yeah. But yeah, but in terms of, but she could go through the glass columns, right? Like that. Again, we don't know. They could change it from Rand, but I feel like Rand, as in Yosha, has said this, right?
Yosha.
Yeah. He said that we'll see these warriors. We'll see the old blood. He said glimpses. We'll get glimpses. So I think enough has been said that it's actually Rand walking, and it's really important for his plotline too. Any kind of change in how Tom? Before I'm going to end this poll here. Matt visits the Fen. Keep, cut, or modify to Rand or Moraine. It seems like very few people. I don't see the results here. Yeah, about 4% are only saying cut, but a good 20% are saying you could modify it to to a Rand or Moraine POV, and a lot of people are like 75% still want the same cool stuff that we all love from the books, but that might be a little hard. But in terms of actual glass columns with Rand, Lanfear, and seeing this kind of destruction, is this probably the kind of climax of that episode, where you learn that this happened?
Well, yeah, I don't know, right? I don't know how they're gonna do time. I don't think they're gonna get every scene that's in the books, but I do think you're gonna get this sequence, and I think you're gonna get the main thrust of hey, this awesome warrior culture started out as pacifists, right? It's really important to do that. One, much like the Aes Sedai, the Aiel are one of the things I think that sell the Wheel of Time as a thing that people get excited about. So you want to really make sure that you don't drop any balls with that. And Rafe made comments to that effect. And two, you have a lot of this is what's happening in this storyline of the Waste, and here's what's happening in the Two Rivers, and here's how they reflect, because you've got the Tuathalan here who are following that path still, and you see the origins of both, right? I do think that you're going to take the time to show, not tell, a little bit more about the drilling of the bore. I think that this is an opportunity to see real Age of Legends-y stuff, and I think you could even play you play with that, is Mirren already bad, or is she opportunistic, or where she's at? Is it greed and a desire for power that causes her to do this, or does she have an idea of what's going to happen when she does? Right. I like that a lot, but I also like letting people understand that not only is she super powerful, but she's brilliant, and it's a part of her character that I think is important for people to realize that she's not just a threat because she's the most powerful, but she's a threat because
she's not just a threat because she's the jilted lover.
Right.
She is so much more than one thing.
Right.
I just want to say, I hope they blow the budget. And we see, as Rand is going through the columns, we see Moghedien standing there, and he melts like that guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I really want to see that.
I love it.
Yeah, see the eyeballs are just melting. Yes. Just blood, dripping down. Yeah.
Show that this is serious.
I almost want to do a Moghedien keeper cut, but that would be funny. Moghedien or we riot. That might be something someone says on social media.
It's Turok's End. It's just they've already channeled Raiders of the Lost Ark. Let's do it again here. And I do want to bring up something to support what you're saying, Tom. They took the time to show Nynaeve's testing in the show, which was pretty much off screen. Well, it was in the books too, but they took the time in the show. So I think they could make that investment. Yeah,
it's good 15-20 minutes, I think, of what she saw and more, right? They expanded it to so much more, and they showed it at the end again. So in terms of just wrapping up the glass columns deserves, maybe you can do a quick yes or no, its own full episode. Frenzy?
At least half.
Okay.
At least half an episode.
Okay. Tom?
I think Roydian gets a full episode.
Okay.
How about that? Not that
Okay.
I think they walk in at the beginning, they walk out at the end.
Okay. All right. Tal, any yes or no? Glass Columns, full episode.
Yes.
Yes.
A whole
Okay.
episode. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Finn, a full episode. No.
They combine that with Al Dal and just pull it all at the beginning, all together. They're all there, right there. And when he emerges from the columns at dawn with the sun at his back.
Ooh. Okay. So you're just like, let's just get him there. Get the
clans gathered.
Yeah.
Done.
And he's twice and twice. Shall he be marked?
Twice marked.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think there's two or three more things I want to talk about. I think Glass Columns Finns are probably the things that I saw the most, and I think one we'll see for sure. The other, hopefully. There's one other scene that I feel like is on top of most people's kind of list, and how we actually see it would be interesting. So let's look at this one. This is chapter 54, Into the Palace. A man who came in then, or any woman unable to channel, would have seen only two women facing each other across the white silk robe from a distance of less than 10 feet. Two women staring at one another in a vast hall full of strange things. They would have seen nothing to say it was a duel. No leaping about and hacking with swords as men would do. Nothing smashed or broken, just two women standing there. But a duel all the same, and maybe to the death, against one of the Forsaken. Now, right, this, like, everyone, I think, here, Nynaeve versus Moghedien, we need to see it. It's one of the coolest thing that happens. Is it a staring contest? Because it's not, right? It's not a staring contest. Is this an actual battle of trying to shield the other person, or is this a Dumbledore versus Voldemort? Is there things being destroyed? That kind of magical power battle. What do you foresee they actually do in the show? Is this this is my power against yours, and we're just focusing? Because we haven't really seen that kind of channeling necessarily. Liandrin pushed her against the wall when Nynaeve then pushed back. There's actually physical stuff happening. Can they actually show a physical just weaves? Is that but for how long? Tal, I see your show. How do you see this on screen? Like, is this like a 2-minute battle, 5-minute battle? Do they keep coming back to it and they're sweating and they're talking in between? Like, what's happening?
They're absolutely sweating. We have seen that channeling is a physical endeavor. So we've seen Moraine sink a ship, and that was not an easy situation for her physically. Like, that was a struggle for her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any reason why we couldn't have this excellent CGI assisted battle. I would love to see it.
I like Taryn here. Show it from different people's perspectives. Nynaeve, Moghedien, the janitor. Like, it would just cuts to there's epic Lorne Balfe music going on. They're fighting, and it cuts to this one person. And it's just like there's no music, and he's like, "What's? I just came to get something from this room." That would be a funny way to show.
It would be funny, but I don't think.
I don't think. No,
it would be funny though.
Yeah.
Little Terry Pratchett for Wheel of Time.
Yeah. Cider beam struggle and Ashman cider beam struggle. Yeah. Again, how is this? Like, how do you see? Tom, do you have any thoughts of what you've imagined this to look like on TV? Is this something they show and then they cut to another person and then they come back and they're still doing it? Then they cut to another scene and they come back and they're still fighting.
I want full Dragon Ball Z. It's going to go on for 20 episodes.
Love it. Yeah, I do think this is going to be like based on the fact we got like some of the show title stuff, and I know we're not getting too wonky into like this is what's been revealed and leaked or whatever, but like chances are like episode 7 is probably the end of the Two Rivers stuff, and episode 8 is going to end the Waste storyline and the Tanchico storyline. So I think there will be some intercutting back and forth, but I will say this is one of the first scenes when I read it originally that I was like, oh, I see exactly how this should be filmed in my head, right? And I don't think they're going to do it that way, because I did see it not in a comedic kind of a way, but like they talk about very often that if you get on channel, you don't see people weaving. So I did see it kind of like with a camera pan, and as it pans behind the girls, like you then see all the weaves that they're doing. So it starts off as like this intense staring contest, and then it cuts around. I don't think they'll do something like that, but I do think that it'll be like, okay, this is what's going on here. Here's what's going on other parts of Tanchico. Here's what's going on in the Waste. You're coming back to this kind of a thing. I think that you can have this be a shielding battle, right? The shields are dynamic enough as is, and people know what those are, right? In the season, in the series already, you can have this be a cut shield battle, and with the rest of the Black Aja maybe having a balefire rod going off, like that's enough visual dynamicism that like they're doing this and like the building's falling apart around them.
Ooh,
I think that would be really cool.
A bar of just white, like just slashes through like above them or something as they're doing that, and they're like, yeah.
It's like this is at some point in time, all this is going on, and Nynaeve is super powerful and super angry, and she's just bullying her way through, and Moghedien is dancing around her, and eventually they're going to have to tumble into tel'aran'rhiod for the fight to conclude, right? And I just see it very dynamic, like you said, Tom.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting if the ending is like basically Nynaeve. I feel like she throws something at her, or like lunges with some prop or something at Moghedien, right? And it would be interesting how true they stay to what actually happens in the book, or they keep it, or they make it more expansive with some degree of finally getting the shield with just her power. It's one that I've been looking forward to. I really like the one where he showed, if they're spinning and you don't see the weaves, and then you turn and there's like 1,000 weaves going up against each other. That would be so cool. That's a cool artistic way to actually show it.
Get some Matrix camera action going.
Yeah, the bolt. They used the bolt somehow to show Nynaeve versus Moghedien. Anything else? From that kind of storyline. I feel like it's the only other Tanchico thing that I feel like that was there was a cup of wine. People kept wanting Elaine to get drunk, and I think Tal, you have to jump off. Do you want to see Kira Coveney, Elaine drinking and getting drunk and getting drunk and Tom's there. We know Tom's in Tanchico.
Oh God, don't! Oh God, don't! No. Pardon.
If they could fit in some drinking and some tanning while they're in Tanchico, that would be amazing. But other than that, I don't know that we need to see much else in that city.
I mean, there could be some Nynaeve, Elaine, more hijinks like they started to do.
Bonding,
continue on that.
I love that.
Don't encourage her.
It's a great opportunity to see the landscapes, the different cities. Like I am so into the different cities.
Yeah, South Africa.
So no,
Cape
I take
Town,
it back.
right?
I want to see Tanchico.
I think we will. I think Rafe has mentioned, that we'll see a Sea Folk ship, which I think would be in Tanchico. I think he's mentioned we built this cool bar. Did he say bar or inn? And a couple of characters we know are having a drink there. So I feel like that's
Elaine gets drunk.
I feel like that's what it is. But yeah, it would be Tanchico would be, I think, is probably the most unformed in our minds. Like how do we fit how do we fill Tanchico? Because I think Matt's going to be there, Tom's going to be there. I think the Battle of the Two Rivers, the White Tower stuff, and the Waste stuff, we kind of know what will happen. Yeah, the Tanchico stuff is going to be awesome. Nat, thanks for jumping in. And with your with the I loved all the comments about the Blue Aja or the cyborg headset, where like everything, like it seems like it's part of your like exoskeleton there, like you're wearing like
Seriously,
the blue
I'm
armor.
Match. I didn't plan it.
Yeah. But awesome to see you.
Guys.
And all right,
Lovely
bye.
To see you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. And so I think it is a cool cool scene from Leia Costa as an actor, seeing more and more of her. I always think in that getting drunk scene, what I want to see is her to be like the person bringing the wine to Elaine. That's like she like they have an interaction and she's like there. That would be cool. Like I want to see her in these small little roles where she's we know who she is, but she like compulses us to forget each time, instead of that one time that Moghedien uses compulsion to have them forget, where she keeps coming and doing and messing with them. That would be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I
think that it plays into that kind of character where we're like, oh, this person likes to stay in the shadows, but the person we saw on the screen is more playful in that 3 minutes that we saw her. All right.
It wasn't even that long, but it was great.
Yeah, it was whatever it was. It was amazing. All right, I'm gonna kind of turn to maybe a very kind of, I wouldn't say dark, but very a scene that I think is emotional for a lot of people. This is from kind of the start of the books, in the Stone of the Tear with Rand, after a certain battle has taken place. And let me read you this. Rand pulled his gaze away from her, and it fell on the body of a dark-haired girl, little more than a child. She lay sprawled on her back, eyes wide and fixed on the ceiling, blood blackening the bosom of her dress. Sadly, he bent to brush strands of hair from her face. Light, she's only a child. I was too late. Why didn't I do it sooner? A child. I will see that someone takes care of her, Rand, Moraine said gently. You can't help her now. His hand shook so hard on Calendar that he could barely hold on. With this, I can do anything. His voice was harsh in his own ears. Anything. Rand, Moraine said urgently. He would not listen. The power was in him. Calendar blazed, and he was the power. He channeled, directing flows into the child's body, searching, trying, fumbling. She lurched to her feet, arms and legs unnaturally rigid and jerky. Rand, you cannot do this. Not this. Breathe. She has to breathe. The girl's chest rose and fell. Heart has to beat. Blood already thick and dark oozed from the wound in her chest. Live, burn you. I didn't mean to be too late. Her eyes stared at him, filmed, lifeless. Tears trickled unheeded down his cheeks. She has to live. Heal her, Moraine. I don't know how. Heal her. Death cannot be healed, Rand. You are not the creator. Staring into those dead eyes, Rand slowly withdrew the flows. The body fell stiffly. The body. He threw back his head and howled, as wild as any Trolloc. Braided fire sizzled into walls and ceiling as he lashed out in frustration and pain. So kind of a very heavy and strong scene, right? I feel like most people, this is I'm the Ragnar Reborn. I can do anything, but you can't heal death. Death is coming for some characters in the show, and you can't reverse that. Do you think we get this scene, Tom? Is this a scene that, or some version, I guess, of this scene? Where Rand struggles with his powers or the mortality of men, I guess.
No, I don't. I don't think Rand is necessarily at the same place, one, that he is at the beginning of book 4. Two, don't think he's gonna have Calendar. And
Yeah.
3, I this scene is rough. Like it's when I say rough, I mean it's like literally you reading it now, me
Yes.
having read it like a million times. It's still.
I
Like,
felt like I was going to
emotionally
give a better trigger warning there, but there you go.
I think that the show is not afraid to go places, but that's a really tough place to go. You know?
I mean, could you replace it with, not a child, I guess, to make it less, I don't know if it makes a difference, but I mean, it makes some difference maybe, a child versus an adult. But yeah, trying to heal a dead person.
Rand needs to learn his limits, but where he is in the show right now, he doesn't even know how to use the power. That's been pretty clearly stated.
Right.
I can see this scene working if they do it near the end of the season and they do it in Moghedien. And when we have an emotional connection to the Aiel and there is some sort of battle, and part of it was he's feeling guilt because he failed to act before the Trollocs attacked the Stone of Tyr. He may be trying to build him and the audience is building a connection to the Aiel. They could do that scene there and show, have it serve the purpose of him learning the edges of his power. He doesn't need to have Calendar, or maybe he does. Calendar is in Meridian. Who knows? I don't know.
Right.
Or the fat little man tel'aran'rhiod, whatever, or Angriel. But I can see that working there better than how it is in the book, given the direction that the show has gone. Right.
Yeah, I think let me ask this and end this poll here. The board drilling with Lanfear present, about 77% want to keep this, kind of how it is. 16% saying modify, and about 6 people are saying cut it. Let's ask. I don't know. Rand trying to heal death. I guess is keep, cut, or modify. So you're saying if
I'm saying modify. If
we're
have it still be a child.
Yeah,
haven't hit. Don't pull any punches. They haven't pulled punches, and it hurts. This one, like you, Tom. This one really hurts.
Right.
And for multiple reasons. And I, that kind of gut punch works for TV.
Yeah, I think it's a strong scene that you can bring back to different points in Rand's journey and have him, learn that lesson. And you're right, it might not be at the start of the season for sure. Other kind of bubble of evil, is people in Blue Sky might have seen this. Critter put out a cock crowed in the darkness. That's the wording for each of the boys hearing that, and then the axe coming to life, the cards coming to life, and reflections in the mirror for Rand coming to life. Bubbles of evil. In some form or fashion, are we going to see that kind of work its way into season 3, Tom?
Yeah, I'm all in. I'm pushing all the ships in. I want all of it.
Where is it? Like at the start there, or the?
Yeah, I think. Honestly, I think that you can do bubbles of evil instead of a giant shadow spawn attack on Falm, and it can serve the same kind of a purpose.
Okay. So we're starting in Falm. Okay, just to get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's based on no knowledge, except that's where they ended. But
okay, good. I like that. Most people go against when I say that, so I like that you think we'll start in Falm. Okay.
Where else would you start?
I don't know. People are saying they're already in the tower, and people have moved on. No,
they did a time jump before.
They did. Yeah. They have, but I think you need to. I think they're going to start in Falm, and I think you do. Like, there's too much thematic resonance for what those things are for those characters to not like that. Doing that is not only great action set pieces for your first episode, but helps the audience go, oh, okay, this is what like they're all dealing with, whatever
The
it
shadow is rising.
That's exactly what I was
Right.
going to say. The shadow rising. The shadow needs to start rising more and more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
So-
the theme. I mean, you could think of it different ways, right? My thought was if. From what we've thought about shredding, top of the first episode, if we see Black Aja breaking away in the first 10, 15 minutes of episode 1, you could end with the bubble of evil happening in Falm or wherever that may be, or incorporate that somehow, because the first episode of season 2 did end with Fates and Land Moraine. The first episode of season 1 was the battle in the Tool River. So you can kind of we expect expect some sort of conflict in that first first episode. And they don't have to do that like they've done it before, but this is such a cool mechanism. I feel like I see so many people saying bubbles or we riot. Yeah, but although Anthony's like bubbles are gone. We'll put that in here. Go ahead.
Are they bubbles or are they the actions of the released Forsaken?
Okay.
Because we ended the last season ended with the Forsaken seals broken.
Yeah. Again, I think not that it doesn't matter, but I think the thematic relevance of the evil or the shadow causing mischief or danger, or the stakes rising as far as the second season, Lanfear was doing stuff, Ishamel was doing stuff, but there were no Trollocs, there was no Shadow Spawn. And now, the Shadow Spawn, that evil is back. That is more prevalent now.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start seeing that again, and all of that. Totally. I think.
But do we need to have the chicken? Do we have to have the cock crowing? Like I said, I think it's the city kid in me, and I understand thematically a cock crows at dawn and going off at night is spooky. I understand that logically, but it's not going to scare me hearing a chicken go off, unless they make it like a spooky chicken or something. Get Alan Tudyk in this. He's already done a crazy chicken. He can do a spooky chicken.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm thinking of how I'm going to work this into my poll now. This is.
Please put up poll about spooky chickens.
Spooky chickens. We need spooky chickens. Do we need spooky chickens? I don't know if we need spooky chickens.
Do we need a spooky
we need a
spooky cock? That's the poll right there.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Yes, no, thank you. But yeah, I think this is. I like this Noan Garden. Yes, I think we want the chicken jokes. We want the chicken bubble of evil. I think it's about the chicken. I think that it's a really cool way to show evil. But you're right. Do we need a warning from a chicken before that? For sure. Yeah. I'm gonna keep this previous poll going for a little while, and then I'll put this one about bubbles of evil. I know we're talking Shadow Rising, and we're getting to the end. There's one more that I want to talk about here, and I think this is important because it's where is it? I have it here. I'm pretty sure. Yep, I put it in here. This is from the Fires of Heaven. There's a reason I kept Fires of Heaven as the spoiler level, because I had chapter 52 choices, and this is what happens at the end of the book there. The sight of Lanfear hit her like a blow. Not surprise, but the shock of seeing what had been in her dreams so often since Meridian. Lanfear standing on the wagon bed, blazing bright as the sun beside her, framed by the twisted redstone tel'aran'rhiod as she stared down at Rand. A pitiless smile on her lips. She was turning a bracelet in her hands, an angreal. Unless Rand had his own angreal, she should be able to crush him with that. Either he did, or Lanfear was toying with him. It did not matter. Moraine did not like that circle of carved, aged dark ivory. At first glance, it seemed to be an acrobat bending backwards to grip his ankles. Only a closer look would show that his wrists and ankles were bound together. She did not like it, but she had brought it out of Moghedien. Yesterday she had taken the bracelet from the sack of odds and ends and left it lying at the foot of the doorframe. Moraine was slight, a small woman. Her weight did not disturb the wagon at all as she pulled herself up. She winced as her dress caught on a splinter and tore, but Lanfear did not look around. The woman had dealt with every threat except Rand. He was the only corner of the world she acknowledged in the least right then. Suppressing a small bubble of hope, she could not allow herself that luxury. Moraine balanced upright a moment on the wagon tail, then embraced the true source and leaped at Lanfear. The Forsaken had an instant's warning, enough to turn before Moraine struck her. Clawing the bracelet away, face to face, they toppled through the doorframe tel'aran'rhiod. White light swallowed everything. Lanfear versus Moraine. I guess that's the broader question. But Lanfear versus Moraine, with that ending. Is this something that... because I think, like Lanfear versus Moraine has been built up. There's no way that isn't happening. But this is how it happens in the books. Like, it doesn't happen before this, right? I mean, you remind me if I'm Lanfear and Moraine do not meet or face each other before this moment.
Not as Lanfear.
No. Yes, not as Lanfear, right? Yeah. So but if we're going to have a face-off with Lanfear, which you can say this could build up to, is it happening in towards the end of the season, and is this how it happens? Let me as you think on that, the two of you with consternation on your faces there of what the question I'm really asking here, is the lead actor going to to go through a doorway? Let me ask, what was the last thing? Rand,
the chicken.
Bubbles.
Don't let that spooky cock sneak up on you, Innkeeper.
Bubbles of evil. Keep
Spooky chicken.
with spooky chicken. Keep without.
Or are you gonna chop the cock?
Spooky chicken. Cut. I need a fourth option. Okay, I got it. Okay. Okay. All right. So, but Lanfear versus Moraine. What do you expect from the ending here? Mary, let me go to you first.
Oh, yeah. You surprised me, Innkeeper.
I
was ready
did.
to start talking White Tower. We haven't talked the White Tower part of the plot yet.
I know.
But
I know.
Are they going to end the season with the end of Fires of Heaven? I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's a little soon, but I also know they don't have a lot of time to work with.
Yeah. It's an interesting, thought. Like, can you have a Lanfear versus Moraine battle and not be, and they both make it? Like, if there's a showdown, is there a way they can do that, Tom? I mean, that's not in the books, right? But they can easily show a fight, or is it just going to be how it happens at the end of the Shadow Rising with Lanfear, what Rand versus Moghedien and Lanfear being there at the end, kind of just being there, not a real fight.
Yeah, I will say this. Before season 2 came out, I was on the bandwagon that this was going to be Rosamund's last season on the show.
Okay.
And I think that, that's the case. I think that, they're going to fight at the end of this season. I don't even think it's necessarily going to be the end of episode 8. And I don't know if it's going to happen like it does in the books, right? I don't know. I don't know if someone of Rosamund's status could be like, yeah, okay, I'll be out, and then just call me in 5 to 7 years, and I'll come back. I'm sure I'll be free. So I do wonder whether this is just like, no, Moraine sacrifices herself to save Rand, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's. I think it I think the season 2 made you feel very sympathetic for Lanfear, and I think season 3 is going to remind you that deep down she's a villain.
Yeah, I mean,
hope
I think,
so.
Yeah,
I sincerely hope so.
yeah, I think it would be an interesting. There needs to be some resolution to that conflict, right? Now, how they do it, they can be, they can come up with their own way of doing it. So I think, like Ryan Harris saying, like Lanfear versus Moraine face-off has to happen. The question really is, does one of them have to, or both of them have to? Is there one man one person standing at the end of it? Is there no one standing at the end of it? Or can
It is a huge fight scene going on right there. They could work in more action into it without it.
So
breaking
what I'm hearing is modify frenzy, but the ending is the same. Gotta commit. You gotta commit.
All right, I'm gonna commit. All right. I think they're gonna keep Moraine alive.
Okay. Moraine survives season 3. Okay. Lanfear survives season 3?
I hope so, but I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Tom, let me just to get
I'm not happy with those answers, but I think that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah. I know you gave an answer, but what's your definitive? This I think will happen, or want to happen.
Oh, okay. Those are different things, but
want to happen.
I think
want to happen.
Okay. Want to happen is it happens not in the same scenario, like in regards to like Lanfear's about to kill Rand because he slept with Aviendha or anything like that, but like that they fight, they go through a doorway, and they're both gone. And then Moraine comes back in the last season of the show, right? That's what I want to happen. What I think is going to happen is more likely, like, she sacrifices herself to save Rand or to keep Lanfear away from him, and that's it. And I think you...
Thank you for changing the spoiler ban.
Yeah. I put full book spoilers just in case. If you're here and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense to me.
Sorry, we both did it. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It happens. I do like the fact that were you in talking there, you were like you cut the igloo there. I felt like you like casually were like, did you kind of casually just being like, that's not going to happen? Or were you more like, that's not going to be the impetus for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that I think that would happen later on. I don't think it's going to happen in this season. But I think, yikes. I feel bad. I hope nobody was like, oh, I'm safe to watch this episode. But, I think I'm very curious how they... If Lanfear comes back from whatever this is, how that happens, right? Like if it happens the same way it does in the books,
right? Or
whether it's just like, oh no, she's back. This actress is too good. We're not gonna have a silver-haired lady.
Yeah, and again, not to again. There's so much full book and even more full book beyond full book spoilers that go into this conversation, right? But like, how do you two characters? One whose ending is pretty clear how it happens in the book. The other, there's answers to it outside of 10 years after the books came out. And how do you come to a conclusion about their part in the show, right? And both amazing, people love their performance. Rosamund Pike as Moraine, like, yes. Natasha O'Keefe, Innkeeper Hatch, I think is not here, but it'd be interesting to see how he would answer. Is this a good place to end both of these characters' journey? I don't know. It's gonna be interesting how they do it. I think whatever they choose, I think it's hard to mess it up, though. Like, whatever they choose, if they keep, I think it's believable. They can do it in a believable way. I think if they kill one person off, I think they could do it in a believable way. I think if they get both, like it happens in the books, you're like, yes, that's what happens in the books. I don't think we'll have too many questions about, why did they change this? If they,
Oh, there will be.
But in terms of other changes that can happen, I think this is one that you can somehow get behind, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Easier to get behind.
Yeah,
like they kept Moraine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so disappointed that they changed that. Like, no, like it's
I think the purists will complain no matter what. But does this mean we don't get cat swing?
That may make a lot of people happy.
I'm interested.
No. Anyway.
No, Catson is important. You're right. Catson is important.
That's right.
The boy needs to learn how to
see.
Smile. But I thought that was an interesting one to throw in there because I think there has to be a showdown. And what does the showdown really mean? If the stakes are not as high as someone can die. And it'll be interesting what they actually go with. And how it actually happens.
I need to get rid of Elmandretta, though. Just saying. Elmandretta's gotta go. Bye, Felicia.
you do not want a pretty dress on Min Farsha? No, that's not happening.
Not happening.
I'm going to do a quick. I'm going to start a giveaway here. Thank you, both of you, for being here, and everyone who's watching. Do a Dusty Will mug giveaway. It started in a quick kind of rapid. I'm going to end the spooky chicken vote here. A 32% and then 22%. So a good 50% want only the spooky chicken or a bubble of evil with the spooky kitchen. So did I say
the chicken
kitchen?
lives?
Did I say chicken? I can't talk. But only 25% are with you, Mary. They want to keep without.
And they should have Alan Tudyk do the voice acting for it.
That's it. Go for it.
We want the Moana Wheel of Time crossover.
Yes.
Moana 2 came out today. If people want to go watch that. I think today.
After we wrap this up.
Yes. Yeah, the late night show. So quick. What did I have here that we didn't talk about? Or did we talk about it?
The Tower coup and
the Tower coup, yes.
Potential for
Elida
Shora.
Yes. This scene, right? I'm just going to show it. The hall convened not an hour ago. Enough sitters to meet our laws, and by unanimous vote, as required, you are no longer Amyrlin. It is done, and we're here to see it enforced, right? Them barging into the offices of the Amyrlin study there. I think that's that was one that I had there. Yes, no, keep cut. Tom?
No,
Elida barging.
I don't think you cut. I think there's gonna be more.
Okay.
This is an ad.
Okay.
You're going to get stuff that's off page on screen.
Okay. All right. Mary?
I agree with that. They're going to have to, because Swan was towing the party line of Tower Law in season 2. So that's not the argument for pulling her from office. There has to be something else.
Okay.
And we're going to need to be able to see that on screen.
Right. This one, the Panarch's Palace. a silvery thing in another cabinet, like a 3-pointed star inside a circle, was made of no substance she knew. It was softer than metal, scratched and gouged, yet even older than any of the ancient bones. From 10 paces, she could sense pride and vanity. And just before that, there was this 2 bracelets of dull black metal. So the male Adam and...
Those are going to be Easter eggs.
Okay.
Those are just going to be Easter eggs. As
But
somebody's
we'll-
walking by, it'll
Okay.
just take
Yeah.
a second or two on screen. That's it.
Okay.
And we're all going to go, oh my God, I saw it. We will.
Yeah. Tom?
I forgot that this was going to be part of it. But yeah, I do think the show has not really given a lot of hints that this is not only, the future of the Age of Legends, but this is our future as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see a Mercedes-Benz emblem in the museum. I think that's a great little Easter egg. It doesn't have
I
to
think
be
they'll change it. Let's make it a Tesla emblem.
Yeah.
What I to be honest, what I is an Amazon Prime box at the like that's like the perfect thing to do for them is to just have or like a Sony Sony like TV like an LED OLED whatever Sony's thing.
As long as it's not a Starbucks cup, just saying.
Yeah,
Right.
that's been done already. So
Yes.
another scene I thought, I saw people mention Lanfear saying, with those we could challenge even the Great Lord himself, even the Creator. Is that going to happen in terms of showing Lanfear's ambition? I don't think she said
Yes.
those words. Okay, yes, keep that.
I'm gonna say keep that. It is foreshadowing for future books.
Okay, so it's really me and you, Rand, against the world, because now the Forsaken are loose, and it's I'm your only,
Yes.
I'm your only hope, Rand.
Come with me if you want to live.
Yes.
Yeah, and it'll echo nicely if they show her drilling the bore. Like, this is like her thing,
Power.
is power.
Yes,
Right.
and again, just to she said that at the start in the Stone of Tyr, kind of telling him about the Forsaken, and saying, Asmodean can teach you, and then at the end that Asmodean can, yes, here is Asmodean, and he will be your teacher now. So she, at the end, right 3 or 4 pages before the end of the book, she says that again. With those together, we can displace the Great Lord of the Dark himself. We can lose Theron together. So the introduction of strong sangreal, and then this kind of more than just this is light versus dark. Her ambition is different. That would be cool to see. I think there's ways that they can show a lot more of Lanfear for sure. I like how people are talking about what they want to see in an iPod Nano, PS5 in the Panarch's Palace.
No, it's a Nokia phone. It's got to be a Nokia phone. Those
It's like
things
this.
live forever.
This never could break. It was just an iPhone. What else did people put there? Tesla symbol. Yes, that's definitely there.
PS5.
PS5.
said
I mean, again,
PS5.
that's what I'm saying. Sony and Amazon. Is can you do this? Yes. It's like this is
Should you?
actually no, but if you really think about it, this is lore.
Right.
This can actually happen. That's I guess really cool things that can happen for the Nokia the 2210 or the 3210, I forget which one it was. Yeah.
I do not know.
Yeah. All right. Let me end this. Let's see here. Where's the poll? Thank you, both of you, for being here, for talking. I always get this weird call at the end of the show, and I'm like, I always have to take it. Hey, this is Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
This is Matt.
Hey.
Matt.
Hey, boss.
Matt. Did the Lanfear? Did the Lanfear? Did we say Lanfear enough times to summon you?
I don't know why you'd assume that I'd be calling about Lanfear, but but yes, you did.
Yes. What do you want to see?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say this. I was surprised you were still online. So, congrats to all of you who are still live at 9:00 on a Wednesday. That says something, you know. It says like we're getting really close and we're getting excited about this. So, or it just says Frenzy's on, you know, because Frenzy's
No,
crazy.
it's all Tom.
And,
Well, yes, I am.
No way.
But I wanted to say this. I think last year I talked about, like, you know, in season 3, Lanfear should really just take, you know, kind of a backseat role, like maybe from the Shadow Rising, and that's really like appropriate to let other Forsaken come in. And I just want to now admit I never actually attended that. I'm really hoping Lanfear.
We're
You're
shocked.
retconning yourself?
We're shocked. You want
Yeah,
more
I mean, but,
Lanfear?
like, no one actually believes me, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, no one believed that, right? I mean, everyone was like, "What's happening?" And I was just trying to be like really, you know, giving to other Forsaken. And
In that moment where you got all the
land.
Lanfear right, you know, you got all the Lanfear you wanted. You were like, in that moment, you were giving. Now you're like, no, I want more.
Yeah, I know it's been like over a year at this point, and we're going to another season. And this time, like, yeah, screw that. I mean, Moghedien's gonna be amazing, but I do want to see Moghedien. But yeah, I don't care about another Forsaken at this point. We just need more Lanfear. Lanfear ruled season 2. Why would we want Lanfear back? Everyone came to see Lanfear. They're going to come back to see Lanfear. So, yeah, I mean, any place they can put Lanfear, I think it's going to be, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, just make up storylines for Lanfear. Let's just get more Lanfear. What I'm trying to say.
Okay, all right. So I should just put it in the started a poll. Lanfear in season 3, keep or cut. I guess that's the poll we're ending on.
Well, if she's not in season 3,
these are like fair polls. She's like.
No, I mean Kylie. We get Kylie, right? We get Sylvie.
yeah, I was gonna say
Kylie.
if Lanfear's not in season 3, Matt doesn't get his hat.
Yeah,
Natasha O'Keefe.
what's
If
the
Natasha
actual
O'Keefe
possibility?
isn't, yeah. How
Like, that
would
be,
you?
Like, it's impossible.
Right. It's impossible. You're like I'm not even gonna like go down this path of trying to reason with this question. It's not gonna happen. It's impossible.
No, what
yeah.
did I say before? It would be like stupid to not like use Natasha O'Keefe.
There you go.
Like, and,
Yes.
I mean, yeah. So that I can't imagine them getting to the writers' room being like, "What should we do better next year?" And be like, "Less Lanfear." Like that would be like an absurd conversation.
Yeah. Matt, thanks for calling. We've got a.
I know you don't hear this very often, Matt, but I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, people like Lanfear and Natasha O'Keefe now. I mean, yes. Do we want more of her? I think that's an easy one to answer. While I have you here, I don't know what we're doing next Wednesday. But we are here next Saturday, right? We're covering CCXP live coverage in 10 days, right? That's crazy.
It's wild. By the way, Tom, as always, awesome to hear your voice. And as I've said, Tom's my spirit animal. So thank you for showing up and being part of the Dusty Wheel today. I don't know exactly what you said today, so hopefully you didn't say anything negative against Lanfear. Otherwise, I might have to come back and tell you that I don't appreciate you. But yeah.
As if you ever watch the shows back. Tom, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
That's true. That's true. That hurts so bad, but that's so true. I never. But that is funny. So I will never know, and so the statement that I just made today will stand. But as always, I really appreciate you and your cohorts. But yeah, as far as CCXP, it's gonna be a blast. I mean, I'm assuming we're guy donning at this point.
Oh yeah.
And if we don't, it'll be stupid.
All right. On that note, let me just. I didn't actually pick a winner, and let me do that and get everyone back to their evening here, or maybe it's morning. I closed the entries, And our winner is Christy. Christy, you have won a Dusty Wheel mug. Yeah, good night. Hey, there's 6% who want to cut, who've stuck around this long, who wanted to stick it to Matt and be like, let's cut Lanfear in season 3.
It was only 6%? Okay, see, by the way, that says something, because I know our audience well enough to know that if they can kind of just have a fun moment with me, they will. This shows how much they love Lanfear, because they couldn't even bring themselves to lie to themselves by saying that they would want to cut Lanfear.
Right, sure. That's the reason. Christy, congratulations. Reach out to the Dusty Wheel. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Discord. We're still on Twitter. You can reach out to us, and we'll get you that mug. But yeah, Matt, thanks for calling, for hanging out. The two of you, everyone in chat, and as we see around here, good night from the Dusty Wheel, and smash the black.
You went right to kill it. Look at you, you're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like, this is
really well. And now I'm like, great, my turn?
And if you don't like that and you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the two rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So,
okay. Just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm
sad. I see Nakomi as something along the lines of a Shadar Haran analog.
It does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Meme Off Challenge! Yay!
Like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all of a sudden,
this is not just
like,
a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi elements. And just a moment ago, Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guest in here with me, and probably I would say put in 70-80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no. You went right to kill it. Look at you, you're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like, this is
really well. And now I'm like, great, my turn?
And if you don't like that and you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the two rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So,
Just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm
sad. I see Nakomi as something along the lines of a Shadar Haran analog.
It does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Meme Off Challenge! Yay!
Like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all of a sudden,
this is not just
like,
a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi elements. And just a moment ago, Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guest in here with me, and probably I would say put in 70-80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no.
Are we back, Matt? We're back. We're back live. Is it just you? Did everyone leave and it's just us? I think it's just me and you. Yes, it's just you. Do you have anything more to say? Do you have anything more? I want to see how many people are still here.
What were the big takeaway misses? Like, did I miss something like big tonight? Were there
the biggest cut was Slayer. Frenzy said, cut Slayer, and Fane can do everything that Slayer and Lord Luke does, and even the killing of wolves and maybe the Wolf Dream stuff. Yeah, that was there.
Yeah. Whoa. What was the reaction? Okay. I mean,
it was a 50-50.
Fane something to do, because Fane's kind of been like a lame at this point. I mean, it's been okay, but not. I guess could do more, and so it would give Fane more.
Yeah, it was a 50-50 kind of keep cut. We didn't modify. We didn't do a modify on that. It was that was probably the one that was most kind of divided. I don't think there was anything else. Let me see. Is there more? Someone tell me in chat if there's.
Take that was like a. Was there like a big hot take from Tom?
That's what I'm trying to think. Tom, I don't think so. I felt like there would be, but someone remind me. I don't actually remember. I feel like most people, everyone wanted the Finns to be in there and said we won't get them. Like it was more like the.
Oh wow! Okay.
It was more like the. I want them. Could they do them? Yes. And will they? I don't know. Like there was a lot of like this is, and I went out on a limb. My hot take was we'll know about the Finns before the show airs. Like we'll get confirmation that the Finns are in.
Oh wow!
Before the show even airs, so like they'll be in.
Do you think Finns are going to show up like on a trailer or something like that?
Well, not show up, but they'll be like enough mentioned. We see the door frame. Okay. Yeah, so like we get enough,
get like a hint of a red frame door,
right? Exactly, something that makes us think. Yeah,
I mean that would be smart, right? So that would be a smart move because first of all, book readers are just gonna be like, okay, cool, like they're gonna be really, really, really excited about that, but it doesn't like reveal anything for anyone that doesn't know anything about the books. So it is an easy kind of win,
right?
On not making people wait to find out, but I don't care either way as long as I have it. Like if they want to make us wait, I'm cool as long as they have the Finn.
Do you think we will though?
So I guess
are you in that camp of you want it, but do you think we will?
It's one of these where I feel like they've tried to like simplify things in ways that this is one of those areas they could simplify and not try to. It would. Like portal stones, right? Like portal stones, Finns, parallel worlds. They're not. I can see them kind of going like, that takes people away from kind of the core things we want to worry about. So I could see them doing it if this makes sense. They should not do it. It's such a unique aspect. It's such a. Again, it's one of those things that just makes the Wheel of Time the Wheel of Time, not just any old other fantasy show.
Yeah,
so,
I think.
I'm hopeful, but we've also missed out on some things that I was hopeful for. So it's. I
don't know. I have more faith in that.
With you now, like, they better give us something in the trailer. That's what.
Right. Like I feel like
I want to see the door frame in the trailer.
Like if you think of like in general how the Finns are perceived within the people who've read the books, it's probably like. If I say, hey, let's talk about the Finns tomorrow, or if I go to JordanCon or WotCon and I'm like, hey, I want to talk about the Ilfin, like people will be like pulled into that conversation. They want to talk about it. They want to talk about the what we get from it, from a the future, the prophecy, the mystery to it. Even with the Ilfin in terms of getting the cool kind of gadgets. So they add so much to it. Tom said that, if you go to an Amazon executive and you tell them, hey, we did all of this and now we have aliens, and they'll be like, really? Like we have aliens in this? And that may be, the kind of hesitance, but I'm like, yeah, no, lean into it. Like we've seen that there's sci-fi things. They've used it with the Age of Legends Flash.
It's a good time to do it, right? Season 3, like if you're going to capture kind of some interest from some new viewers in a way where it's like, what's different about this? There are plenty of differences, but this is another aspect. But it's such a, it's not like you spend a ton of time there in the books. So it is like I can see, again, it's such a short section that if they cut it, I wouldn't be surprised. But I guess with everyone that you said on the show, like everyone's like, no, they need to have it, but people think they could cut it and stuff.
Yeah.
That one's, the Finns is a tough one.
The Finns,
portal stones. We kind of just had to accept portal stones,
Yeah, but I don't think there are so many people who are like, I can't believe they cut one of my favorite parts. Like the Portal Stone is just not someone's favorite part, other than the.
Wow.
Are you talking about just? Oh no, are you talking about the flashback? You're talking about
some of our. No.
Oh yeah, you're talking about that,
some
right?
Some of our favorite parts. Okay?
No. Are you talking about specifically Portal Stones, or are you talking about how they travel to Falm? Flicker. Are you talking about Flicker?
I'm just talking like, oh yes, no, you're right. I mean that aspect of. I'm just talking like using Portal Stones in that way.
No, now I just
we were expecting.
I just if they didn't give us Flicker, like. Maybe they won't give us the fins. Like now I'm like, now I'm like they actually didn't give us Flicker. So my faith
Flicker,
has dropped.
So I can see them dropping fins. Yes, not that they should, or not that they, but we all made it through dropping Flicker. Like that's. Although I can tell for fans that like season 2, it wasn't they were like, oh my gosh, they left.
Although the Trippy tea. That's kind of Flicker, right? Matt drinking the Trippy Ishamil tea did get some visions and flickering, maybe? I don't know. Could they...
I mean, what you're saying is could they do something Finn-esque, or Finnish?
Right.
Yeah. Could they give us some kind... I don't know. That'd be... I don't know how else you'd even just give us that versus just giving us the fins. But,
right. Yeah.
I think the fin... if you go to Instagram, do you want to show did you use the Instagram kind of polls that we did on our IG story?
I just generally I just used it. How many people said yes to that? I don't think I have those results. Do you have those results?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's. I'd have to look those up. Yeah, I do. So here, hold on a second.
I got it. Matt visiting the Finns, 87% yes. Is this among your most wanted? Season 3. Yeah. Ruidin setback through time, 95%. The Two Rivers last stand.
I'm assuming, right? That feels like a must, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
Like if I look at these, like Matt visiting the Finns. I mean. What was the next one? It was Two Rivers Last Stand. What did that one get?
Oh yeah, no, it was really high. We talked a bunch about Matt and Perrin and Dane and Perrin and Faile bringing the Devon Wright people back.
I mean, I'm assuming Nynaeve and Moghedien.
Yes,
Nynaeve and Moghedien must have gotten that's to me that is like that has to be a must, right?
Right. I mean, how they do it, we kind of talked about, two people staring at each other. How do you actually make that a compelling battle? And there was ways, Tom had this cool idea where the camera pans in a circle where you see them from like one side and the camera, and you see no weaves, and it goes behind one of them. And as you see them, as you cut across from behind them, you see like 1,000 weaves just like trying to battle, and they're just like staring at each other. So there's cool ways of doing it, because it is reading someone just standing across each other and like mentally staying strong in a fight is really cool. It's a really cool scene, but how do you make it for a visual medium be as interesting, or not a 1 minute fight, and how do you make a big fight out of it?
Yeah. Like, how do you make it compelling?
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting just talking about these scenes. I think talking about these scenes does just remind me, like, this is the season. It is a kind of a make or break season. Because,
right.
If this isn't the thing that pulls in viewers, right? Like, if they can't captivate, let's say viewers go down or something, right? Like, if this doesn't capture the excitement and interest of, viewers worldwide, and we don't see kind of that audience grow, like, what else is it going to be that's going to do it for the real time? You know what I mean? Like, this is the, and so, I guess I'm in the space right now of like, man, I hope they have a clear run from a marketing perspective. I hope they've put their best forward. I hope we do see kind of things just increase and get better on the, just like we did from season 1, season 2, whether or not it's acting, the talent, the writing, I'm hoping all that, because this is, for those of us that are like really want to see this continue to like grow and be made, like, this is the season, I guess. Like,
Light Blinded Fool said, that's what you said last season, Matt. Light Blinded Fool is like that's what you said last season, Matt.
Who said that?
Light Blinded Fool.
No, it's again, yes, The Great Hunt. It's a transition. It was a transition point from the Eye of the World, and it did get better, but it wasn't. The viewership didn't, as far as I recall, right? So
right. I mean,
it's
but
like one of those like the show could get better, but does the viewership go up?
Right.
I mean, that's if there's ever a season, it's going to be one of the favorite books,
right? Yeah.
For all fandom is going to be The Shadow Rising, right? It has just all these key points that we're talking about. That there's big moments.
Yeah.
And yes, every season will be like that. But what I'm saying is, what comes next that you would say, no, this is going to be the even more compelling moment.
No, this is it.
And
we're there.
This season has some of the most compelling potential, if that
right.
makes sense, that you're going to have for a while. Yes, you talk about all of the big moments that come at the end of books coming up, but I just don't think you can tie together a more compelling set of changes across different. When you think of where all these people are supposed to be,
right,
and what's happening in each one of these different locations, it's just later on it's more of the same. I feel like, but this is just new big things happening. So, anyways, I do feel like this is. It feels. Yeah, I mean, yes, every season itself is like make or break to get something the next season. But
I think season 2 would have done better ratings wise and viewership wise if I think the strikes hadn't happened and the marketing had happened the same way. Would it have been like? I think we again hope for the best book or one of the best books in the series with the the best marketing kind of push going to it. I think that those two things, if they go well, then you're right. Like this is make or break in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, CCXP 10 days, right?
Yeah, and
let's kick this off.
Yeah, I didn't. People who are still stuck. We will. I didn't mention. We'll be back on What a Holiday on Molecular Talks' YouTube channel on Saturday. I think the stream starts at 7:30, but we're like kicking it off. It's a 24-hour stream where an hour for a group of people raising money for charity, and the Dusty Wheel will be live at 8 p.m. Eastern, kicking it off.
We should start. We'll start posting some stuff. Here come Friday on social media. We'll shake down social media and see if we can't. Let's just kick it off right and get the thing started. And it's always been the charity side of that is it's always been a wonderful thing to be part of. We've done some funny things in the past. We're going to come up with some stuff, hopefully compelling for you all to again start this off and have some fun and hopefully find it in your wallets to continue giving, as the Wheel of Time community has always been good about. I'm sure my fellow Innkeeper and Gleeman and I, we will be leading in that charge of challenging everybody to match our giving. So I didn't tell you about that, Innkeeper, but I'm expecting you to kind of bring a ton of money to the table, basically. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right. I'll match what you bring. So there's that.
You match what I'm bringing? Okay.
Yeah.
What we need to do is we need to go out to Dusty Wheel and just say, okay, who's gonna match up to what, right? Like, and I think it'd be awesome just to kick this thing off and just basically have the best hour of What a Holiday ever from a giving standpoint. That's like a challenge to all of our Dusty Wheel patrons. Like, let's make it the best hour, and let's give it a great start on Saturday. It's gonna be blast.
That'll be awesome. And again, we'll be back next Wednesday. We'll be back next Saturday. There's going to be a lot of cool things happening over the next 10 days. Thanks for calling and hanging out. We're kind of past our usual runtime here, and I was like, hey, let's make this a catch-up phone call of sorts. But thank you everyone for hanging out. And as we say around here, good night again from the Dusty Wheel, and smash a black.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. you went right to kill it. Look at you, you're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like, this is
really
one
well.
of the biggest scenes.
And now I'm like, great, my turn.
And if you don't like that, you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the two rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So,
Just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm
Sad.
I see Nakomi as something along the lines of a Shadar Haran analog.
It does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Will Show What Meme Off Challenge. Yay!
Terrible, like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all of a sudden,
not just
it's like,
a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi
and
elements.
Just a moment ago, Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guest in here with me. And
probably, I would say, put in 70, 80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no,